My career has been a winding career. I started as a lawyer, joined a tech startup, was asked to be its CFO, joined Overstock over 20 years ago. Hadn't been here very long when our founder asked me to take a different business role. It was 6 years ago. The Overstock board asked me to run our fledgling venture capital arm investing in blockchain. What we're doing with companies using blockchain technology to advance a new, different technology that's going to change lives like the internet did. Success has 1,000 fathers, and if I've achieved any success, it's been because of my colleagues at Overstock and elsewhere, mentors and sponsors. And of course, it's been my wife and my 5 children. They've really been an enormous support in helping me get here. One of the great events at Overstock was moving into our campus in Midvale, moving out of a leased building into a building that we designed. Felt like who we were and who we wanted to become. I love being part of the Silicon Slopes community. There are so many people in the community that I've gone to for inspiration, that I've gone to for information, that I've gone to for instruction. I love going down to the Silicon Slopes headquarters, sitting in the audience and learning from those that are presenting. I love presenting in that same forum and hearing the smart questions from the up and coming minds that are part of Silicon Slopes. Silicon Slopes has been really formative in who I've become. I could never be recognized this way if it weren't for all of my colleagues at Overstock. They're the ones that have made this honor possible. Part of my career progression has been my becoming able to be comfortable with being uncomfortable, learning new things, stretching myself to places I hadn't been. Silicon Slopes helped me in that because it's been a place where I could go for mentorship, for advice, for inspiration and instruction. Some of my greatest sponsors, mentors, are in the Silicon Slopes Hall of Fame. So what does it mean to me? It's a real honor. In my mind, Silicon Slopes is the premier trade organization in the state of Utah today, and it will only be more so going forward.
To formally introduce Johnathan Johnson into the Silicon Slopes Hall of Fame, please welcome to the stage Silicon Slopes Hall of Fame inductee and Traeger Grill's CEO, Jeremy Andrus.
I first met Johnathan Johnson in my YPO forum nearly 15 years ago. I quickly discovered that Johnathan is smart, kind, wise, principled, direct, honest, steady, and interesting. He is someone you can trust and depend on. Johnathan is a devoted husband to his amazing wife, Courtney, and a great father to his 5 impressive boys. He is one of the best human beings I know. A lawyer by training, Johnathan took a risk in 2002 when he joined Overstock.com, a startup that had survived the dot-com bubble. Today, Overstock is a publicly traded company with billions in sales. Johnathan has held 9 roles at Overstock over the last 20 years. After persevering through interesting and often difficult times, he became CEO in 2019, just in time for COVID. Johnathan has transformed Overstock through his leadership, vision, and focus on culture. Johnathan has many outstanding business accomplishments worthy of induction into the Silicon Slopes Hall of Fame. But what I admire even more than Johnathan's track record is who he is and how he leads. Over the years, Johnathan has become not only a good friend, but an advisor, a mentor, a role model, a neighbor, and even my bishop. Yes, he leads a publicly traded company, and our congregation of more than 600 members at the same time, which seems unbelievable unless you know how methodical and disciplined Johnathan is. To give you an example, Johnathan is the only person I know who tracks his New Year's resolutions in a spreadsheet. Literally, he measures his weekly progress by percent to goal. This guy's a machine. But what strikes me about Johnathan is that he balances this drive and discipline with loving wisdom and empathy. Recently, when Johnathan and I were walking into the Silicon Slopes Technology Summit together, I confided in him about a struggling individual in my life and how to best be supportive. Johnathan advised me to find a balance between helping in the moment and motivating him to make a real commitment to change. He recommended that we make an agreement together with some very specific components. For 10 years, I grappled with this challenge. 10 minutes with Johnathan led to a breakthrough. Johnathan and I have shared leadership ideas and philosophies over the years, but I've never had the opportunity to work for Johnathan. As I was thinking about what I would say this evening, I reached out to members of his team to understand him better as a CEO. What I heard from his teammates was not only remarkable, but it inspired me deeply to become a better leader. I'd like to share just a few of their comments. First, I've never known a better listener. He actively considers ideas and perspectives of others, not just seemingly, but truly in substance. And next, he makes everyone feel valued. He is dedicated to his family, friendships, church, community, and our company. But somehow, Johnathan finds time to make everyone who crosses his path feel like he has time for them. Somehow, he has found more hours in the day than anyone else to devote to people. Yet of everything his teammates told me about Johnathan, one thing separates him from every CEO I know. Maybe it's even his secret to success. To quote his close colleague, he must have an ego because everyone does, but I have never seen his. He leads with no ego. The strength of our Silicon Slopes community is really nothing more than a function of our people. And I truly believe we're better, stronger, and more united because we have Johnathan Johnson as one of our pillars. It's my privilege to recognize Johnathan on behalf of the Silicon Slopes organization and community. So without further ado, I'd like to welcome him to the stage.
Thank you, Jeremy, for that generous and all too kind introduction. Jeremy Andrus has been a mentor, counselor, confidant, and dear friend for years. He has been there for me in difficult and trying times, so it is only fitting that he is here for this happy moment. What an honor and privilege it is to be here tonight. I'm humbled to be recognized with Jeanette and John, two stalwarts of the Utah technology community. And I'm thrilled to be here with my family, friends, Overstock colleagues, and so many members of the Utah business community who have influenced me for good, both professionally and personally. Silicon Slopes, including its predecessor organization, the Utah Technology Council, have been an integral part of my career. From the start, the organization has sought to create community. And for me, the community it has built has been transformative, providing opportunities to develop relationships that have offered connection, support, and mentorship with countless individuals who have contributed to my career. My colleagues at Overstock and my Facebook friends know that I like poetry, as I often share poems with them. So it will come as no surprise to them that when I think about Silicon Slopes and the impact the organization has had on me, I am reminded of one of my favorite poems by the great American poet Walt Whitman. The poem begins, there was a child went forth every day, and the first object he looked upon and received with wonder or pity or love or dread, that object he became. And that object became part of him for a day or a certain part of the day, or for many years or stretching cycles of years. That poem goes on to say, the mother and father, the men, the women, the lilacs, the streets, the horizon, they all became part of the child who went forth every day and who goes forth and will go forth every day. I find great meaning in that poem. The people, places, and things around us shape who we become. Tonight, I can't help but reflect on the many people who have shaped and who continue to shape me and my career. Of course, there isn't time to list them all, but I'd like to mention 3 groups. First, the Overstock team, especially the management team, who deliver on the Overstock vision of making dream homes come true. They aren't afraid to tell me when I'm wrong, something every CEO needs. And they aren't afraid to take on big, hairy, and hard problems, another thing every CEO needs. They are a team of doers. They are livers of our We Are Overstock culture. They make me a better CEO and a better person. Second, past bosses. I have been an employee since I was 12 years old. That means I've had a lot of bosses. Each entrusted me with assignments beyond my abilities, and each mentored me in direct and indirect ways. Sometimes that mentoring was gentle, other times it was harsh. Always, it made me a better person. Third, my family. I'm honored to have my dear uncle, Ralph Hardy, here tonight. After my parents passed away, he became a trusted and wise source of advice, reminding me of where I came from and what I'm made of. My 5 sons, 2 of whom are here tonight, who have heard too many Overstock stories to count, and who have provided the candid advice that only a teenage boy can deliver. And of course, my dear wife, Courtney, who has stood by me through thick and thin for 34 years. She has softened and mellowed me. She has given me perspective on what matters most. In both ways, large and small, she has made me a better person. I am that child in Walt Whitman's poem. I'm the culmination of the impact each of you has had on me, and I'm better for it. Silicon Slopes, thank you for this honor. I'm full of gratitude and appreciation for this recognition and your willingness to include me alongside tonight's other inductees and the impressive inductees that came before us. Being inducted into the Hall of Fame is a special career highlight for me as I go forth and will go forth every day. Thank you.